So good morning all of you. So today I am going to do one chapter which is left, okay, that is chapter number 3. All of you open your book, chapter number 3, that is silent features of the constitution, okay. This was left to explain. Under this chapter we need to study about the directive principles of state policy, that we will study. We will study the difference between directive principles and fundamental rights, and then we will study about welfare state, okay. So let me first start with the meaning of directive principles of state policy. I'll make you people underline also. Now see all of you in the book, page number 138. The directive principles are the guidelines to be followed by the government in the governance of the country, okay. So directive principles of state policy is also the part of our constitution, and it is actually the direction. Directive principles of state policy actually includes the directions which are being given to the governance, that how they are going to govern the country. Is it clear? That is known as directive principles of state policy, okay. Then in part 4 of the constitution, the directive principles of state policy are included. Article 36 to article 51 talks about the directive principles of state policy, okay. Why they are called as the directive principle? They are called as the directive principle because government has to take the decision considering these directions. That's why directive principle, the principle of direction which need to be followed by the government as mentioned in the constitution. That is why it is called directive principles of state policy. All of you. Now see all of you in the book and try to underline. You see this book, okay? Under this book, the first thing, this is the meaning. The directive principles are the guidelines to be followed by the government in the governance of the country. This is your, from here to here is your meaning. This is your meaning, okay? And then second point. Second point is this, that part 4 of the constitution has the directive principle of state policy under article 36 to 51. This is very important. Then why it is called directive principle? They are called directive principle because the government has to take them into consideration while making law. These principles contain lofty ideas, deep human thought, belief and knowledge. Alright, so from here till here, this is number 1 point, which is the meaning. This is number 2 point, which tells that which part of the constitution includes the directive principle. This is number 3 point, which tells that why they are called as directive principles. Is it clear to all of you? Now, you people need to, I think you people have understood that directive principles of state policy are the guidelines which need to be followed by the government for governing the country. That is directive principle. Part 4 of the constitution included directive principle, and article 36 to 51 talks about the directive principle of state policy. They are called directive principles of state policy because the government has to consider them while making the laws, okay. Now, sources of directive principle is not in your syllabus. Importance of directive principle is not in your syllabus. Both is not in your syllabus. Directly we need to start with the difference between directive principle and state fundamental rights. That difference between you people have to study from the book. I have already explained you about the fundamental rights, okay. Now, once you see in the book, all of you, once you see in the book, this is there. So sources is not there, that you will cancel it, okay. Importance is not there, that you cancel it. Importance. We have to do the difference between directive principle of state policy and fundamental rights. See, they are provided in part 4 of the constitution, they are provided in part 3. So part 4 of the constitution talks about directive principle, part 3 of the constitution talks about fundamental right. Then they are not justiciable. Who are not justiciable? Directive principle. But they are justiciable. Who are justiciable? Fundamental rights. Then they are meant for the government to to create certain privileges for the citizen. Directive principle are for the government so that they can create the privileges, means they can provide the facilities to the citizen. But they are privileges in existence and they are already existing fundamental rights which are there with the citizen of India. Then they are mere direction to the state to attain certain set objective. It's just a direction. It is not a law, but they are a kind of restrictions on the state, means the government has to give fundamental right. Okay. Then these aims to establish welfare state, these aims to establish political democracy. Then there is a scope. Their scope is wider as they deal with wide range of subject. Their scope is limited as they are concerned with individual rights. Okay, so this is there in your syllabus. All right. Okay, now see, so distinguish between we have done. Now we need to study about the welfare state. What do you mean by welfare state? See in your book, page number 139. You see the meaning of the welfare. A welfare state is a state which seeks to ensure the maximum happiness of maximum number of people living within its territory. Till here is the meaning of welfare state. So what do you mean by welfare state? The main aim of welfare state is to provide the maximum happiness to the maximum number of people in a country. Means almost every member of the society in the country must get happiness. This is the responsibility. And when everyone will able to get the happiness in the country or a territory, then we can say that we got success in building a welfare state. So what do you mean by welfare state? A welfare state is a state which seeks to ensure the maximum happiness of maximum number of people living within its territory. That is the meaning of welfare state. Okay. Now, one of the main point which is mentioned in our constitution is that the Constitution of India seeks to establish a welfare state. Means in our constitution it is mentioned that the main aim of India is to establish a welfare state, means to provide maximum happiness to maximum number of people. That is the meaning of welfare state. Then the aim and objective of welfare states. What is the aim and objective of welfare state? Is to follow the directive principle of state policy. Alright. Why the directive principle of state policy is mentioned in our constitution? Because the main aim of our constitution is to build a welfare state, and that welfare state can be built only by following the directive principle of state policy. That you need to understand. Okay, now how we can maintain the welfare state? So if you see page number 140, the first way we can maintain welfare state is by social equality and justice. Means we need to maintain the equality in the society and we need to provide justice to the people. Then only we will able to maintain, we will able to build a welfare state. What is the second method through which we can build a welfare state is economic welfare. We need to provide economic welfare to the citizen of India so that we can build a welfare state. So two very important points we need to study under welfare state. One point is social equality and justice. Another point is economic welfare. First you see the social equality. How social equality is maintained means how a country can make every member of the society equal and how a country can provide justice to every member of the society. For this, the 4 steps are mentioned in our constitution, which is given in the book, page number 140. See, the Right to Education Act has made it mandatory for every child between age to 6 and 14 to provide free education in all government and government-aided schools. That is the first step so that we can maintain social equality and we can make our country a welfare state. What is that? That our constitution has provided, according to the Right to Education Act, it has made it mandatory, means compulsory for every child who has the age of 6 to 14 years that their education is free in all the government and government aided schools. The first step. Under this then, the Act also requires all private schools to reserve 25% of seats for the children belonging to economically weaker section of the society. Under the first point, you have 2 points. First point, according to Right to Education Act, It is compulsory to provide free education to every child of the age group 6 to 14 years. Second point, it is 6 to 14 years in government and government aided school. Second point, all the private sector school must reserve 25% of their seats which need to be belong to the weaker section of the society. Then special scholarship are provided to socially and economically weaker section of the society. Yes, a scholarship is provided to the students, those who belong to the socially and economically backward classes. Third point, one of the major objective of 5-year plan is to focus on welfare and progress of the 5-year plan is built. And what is the main aim of the 5-year plan of India? Is to focus on the welfare and progress of the weaker section of the society. And the last point, untouchability has been made offense. It is punishable. If we follow untouchability, then in our constitution it made it offense, it made it illegal. So these are the 4 points which are being included in our constitution so that they can maintain social equality and justice, and so that we can make our country a welfare state. Is it clear to all of you? Now you see in the book and underline what is the meaning of welfare state, children. You see this line which is given. A welfare state is a state which seeks to ensure the maximum happiness of maximum number of people living within its territory. First point then. What is the main aim of our constitution? This is the first point and this is the meaning. This is the meaning of welfare state. If the question comes, what do you mean by welfare state? This is the meaning. Second point starts from here. This is the second point. The Constitution of India seeks to establish India as a welfare state till here. Is it clear? This is the second point. Then from here, the aims and objective of welfare states are, this is your third point, are clearly pointed out in the directive principle of state policy. Then under this we have this point, that is social equality and justice. Okay, what is the first point? This Right to Education Act has made it mandatory for every child between the age 6 to 14 to be provided free education in all government and government aided school. This is your number 1 point. Number 2 point is here. Act also require all private schools to reserve 25% seats for the children belonging to economically weaker section as a part of public. This is number 2 point. Number 3 point is this. This actually is 3 point. This actually is third point. Special scholarship are provided to socially and economically weaker section of the society. Till here, there is a system of reservation of seats in job and educational institution for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. And what is your third point is actually fourth point. Major objective of 5-year plans to focus on the welfare and progress of the weaker section of the society. And this is actually your fifth point. Untouchability has made an offense punishable by law. Is it clear to all of you? So, we have completed the first point of welfare state, that is social equality and justice. Okay. Now, we need to study the second, that is economic welfare. How we can provide economic welfare in our country so that we can build our country as an example of welfare state. Now, see all of you in the book, number A point. The government has abolished Zamindari system and introduced the land reform program. That is the first thing. Okay, that from India the Zamindari system has been totally abolished and land reform measures have been started. Number B point. Right to fair compensation and transparency in land acquisition, rehabilitation and resettlement bill 2013 was passed in Parliament in 2013. Till here, okay. Then number C point, nationalization of bank, insurance companies and some key industries have been done to ensure that the ownership of material resources of the community are so distributed so as to obtain best service of common good. Means that is the third step. Fourth step, in order to ensure just payment to workers, equal pay for equal work and the payment of wages is governed by the government, which has extended legislation to the effect that the payment be made according to the Minimum Wage Act 1948. All right. Then one scheme started by Narendra Modi government, that is Ayushman Bharat Yojana. Okay. So under economic welfare, now see the first point. What is the first point they have done? What is the first step they have taken to maintain economic welfare? Zamindari system was abolished and they have introduced land reform program. Only till here. Second point. What is the second point? What is the second thing they have taken to maintain economic welfare? Right to fair compensation and transparency in land acquisition, rehabilitation and resettlement bill. All right. 2 bills are passed. Then number C point, what they have done? They have done nationalization of bank. They have built insurance companies, and some key industries have been done to ensure the ownership of the material resources of the communities are so distributed so as to obtain best service of common good. All right. So to provide the best service of common good to the people of India, the government has done nationalization of bank. The government has started insurance companies. The government has started building new key industries. Key industries means important industries, so that they can provide best service of some common good. What are our common good? Common good means our basic necessities of life. That is food, clothing, shelter, education. Is it clear to all of you? Then number D point is that the main aim of the government is to provide equal pay for equal work. Means if 10 people are doing the same kind of the work, then they must get the same salary. So equal pay for equal work is the another step taken by the government to maintain economic welfare. Number E. The Narendra Modi government has started Ayushman Bharat Yojana. According to this Yojana, alright, what is their main aim? Is to provide health and wellness centers, national health protection scheme. The scheme will cover 10 crore poor and vulnerable families, providing coverage up to 5 lakh. Means the 10 crores poor families in India will get the financial, medical help from the government up to 5 lakh rupees according to Ayushman Bharat Yojana. Then you have Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. In Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, they have given insurance to the farmers. Is it clear? That I made you people underline. Now see all of you in the book, the economic welfare points, and underline.